Yeah, we on? Oh, right. You better shove about that then, because next time that policeman comes along, he might have been watching.
I
So
know.
yeah. So just
all above board. All above board.
Yeah. So just keep the clothes on in future.
Man, it was warm. What can I do?
Yeah, well, there are women like that, but never mind.
Well,
Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to. I always move my glasses, don't I? When we introduce. Welcome everybody to the eModels live stream. It's another Monday night, and yes, he's here. He's there. Hi, Foxx. How are you?
I interrupted before you introduced me. I've done the wrong thing. It's I broke the code, the podcast code. My apologies.
Yeah, so don't you know about etiquette and interviews and things like that, and on-screen broadcasting and all the rest of it? Yes, but good evening. Another Monday night. It's a rather warm and humid Monday night here in the northwest of the UK. Hi to everybody that's in the chat. I think there's 33 odd people watching us at the moment, so good evening to you all. Once again, another unorganized chat about anything really.
Yeah, we fully subscribe to the chaos theory on this podcast, as in if we can make chaos, we'll do it. Yeah, it's much easier.
Yeah, we'll try and stay away from buttons and pressing buttons, and hopefully the tubes won't crash on us and things like that. And you remain with us for however long this podcast takes tonight, live stream takes tonight. So
just before you get going, Nate Bliss says it really is the Pearl and Dean theme to open these. I'm thinking, yes, if it wasn't copyright, oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and we should have a break. Now available in the kiosk in the
Sun-kissed Kiora, Toffee Poppets, and King Cones.
Yes. Yeah, brilliant.
King Cones. You could only ever get King Cones from the cinema. You couldn't find them anywhere else, and they were terrible. They were like Cornetto knockoffs, but King Cones, man.
Yeah, and the little square tubs of orange juice that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Kiora stuff.
Yeah.
Sun-kissed.
Yeah.
No, was Sun-kissed the popcorn? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And no, was it the juice? It was the juice in those days, I think. This is going back to the 80s and 70s now for a lot of our viewers. Well, even existed.
Probably what? No.
This is before you used to go to the cinema and spend £5 on a hot dog that was just a bun and a hot dog.
Yeah, that's
all. Where's the onions?
Yeah, onions? No, you've got your hot dog. What more do you want? Yeah. So,
and I say £5, I mean £10, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the days. Yeah, you could spend all Saturday morning at the cinema, watch maybe a dozen films that come out as high as a kite on sugar.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's brilliant. They were the days.
People don't like the 70s and 80s, but you know what? I like the 70s because I was like 7 years old and they were brilliant and everything was sugar.
Yeah,
chemicals. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, reminiscing already. Yeah,
no,
brilliant. Yeah. All right, let's have a look and see who's in with us tonight. We've got quite a few people in tonight. We did notice that some were already in the queue, just as before the doors opened. Now the doors open. Hopefully you've all got in and settled down and got yourself a good seat. So we'll go to the top, but I know the chat moves really fast, as we say. So we've got, who was first in tonight? Can you remember who was first in?
Yes, first in it was Kimber 123. Hello.
Yeah, Kimber. Yeah, there he is. Kimber 123. First in, and can't I claim my free sticker? Okay, send an email to eModels and claim your sticker.
We see everything. Nothing goes past us apart from the stuff we don't see.
Yeah. And there's model making guru, whoever he is.
I have no idea. Some fool. There's some guy called Skipper Ted in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah. Just on that note as well, please remember there is a little bit of a notice to just be mindful of it's a family show and things like that in the notes below the video. And there's some of the lads, our friends, are in to help us with the moderating. They're there just to make sure everything goes along fine. And
TK's in at the moment. Hi, TK.
Yep. If we miss your questions, we apologise for that. If you do have any questions for us in chat, please try and highlight them as capital letters so we can hopefully find them. We can't always guarantee to find the questions, and we'll try and get them answered.
Yep. Adam's in chat as well. Adam from Enigma. He's also one of your mods for the evening.
Yeah.
They're really nice guys. They'll look after you.
Yeah, they'll look after you. So if you have any questions about anything, they're the guys you can chat. But feel free to chat amongst yourselves as well in chat. It's just what we've decided. This is like just a few guys getting together in the pub and having a crack and asking questions and enjoying ourselves. That's all it is. Nothing serious.
Crack. Let's just clarify that. A crack, not.
Not. Yeah.
CRAIC crack, not.
Yeah.
Family show. Ron Mack did say, actually, you should get the local curry house to sponsor the show 5 minutes from this podcast.
5 minutes.
And he says, in Glasgow, the local cinema used to let us in with lemonade bottles because you got 8D back on them. Proper old school.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, the chat is just moving so quickly. So, yeah, I'm just picking a few names out at random.
Anson as well, by the way. Hi, Ant.
Yep. Oh, is Ant in as well? Good evening, Ant.
TK Ant and Adam.
Oh, it's almost a full team tonight. Well done, everybody. Matthew Drake, Kimbar123, yeah, Beyond Hope, Simon D, Felice.
Isn't Simon D a DJ?
Simon D
from the 70s. Was that a DJ? 70s DJ? Are we going retro again?
Going retro. Hey, I caught up on the Glastonbury show on iPlayer the other day. It was really sort of 80s discos. Barry Gibb. Who else was on? The Jacksons.
Somebody did remark that my cartoon of me looks a bit like a BG. And I did used to play synthesizer, so
yeah, well, there we go. Yeah,
I just can't do the high voice. No, I can do the high voice. We'll do it again.
Yeah, you can start a retro group now in cartoon. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should try it. Yeah, no, it just take too long to make a cartoon with those pictures.
Yeah. I thought about doing animations for my own channel once. I'm like, no,
it's going to take too. Yeah, stop frame
years. Yeah. Simon Kimbar says yes. There was a DJ called Simon D. Oh, maybe it's the Simon D. Hey Simon D, tell us if you are the Simon D.
Right.
I don't know where we're going with that. And TK says he cannot unsee that now. He can't not see me as BG.
Yeah, with a jacket on. You have to get yourself a jacket.
White leisure suit type thing. Tight pants. Tight pants.
Ooh, stay alive, stay alive.
I can't know. I won't do it.
I think we're going down the wrong road there.
Yes.
Simon D.
I want people to watch, not run away in fear. So.
I can't keep up with the chat as it's moving down, but yes, welcome to one and all. I was going to give a shout out to one or two people as they came up, but Gareth Jones, Paul Stewart, Northern Modeler.
Kimbar123 says he hopes that that Simon D in the chat isn't the Simon D because Simon D's passed away. So yeah,
right.
I guess it's not the Simon D. But you're still awesome, Simon D, even if you're not the Simon D. We still love you.
Right. What have you been up to this week? Is the usual question that starts the ball rolling. Have you been up to anything?
Nope.
That was a short answer. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of time for Buildage last week. I spent a lot of time working on the latest Eagle episode, which is up now. Go watch it. Watch it. I've had lots of compliments on my theme tune and no copyright strikes, so it's working well. I think I showed it last week. I can't remember where I was up to, but now I've basically finished the command module build altogether completely. That is completely built. The back is removable. Very easy for when the lighting goes in. It's not as easy to get it back on again when I'm on camera and I'm not paying attention. But in the latest episode, smashing. I'm turning into Sean Connery. I did show how in the latest episode how I actually glued this together, but allowed space for it to go in and out. There are some modifications you have to make to the back wall. And what I did do, and if you've watched it already, you'll know this, and if I discussed this last week, I do apologise. It's all a blur. Because I was hosting last week and it all went weird. What I did do was I've put in, you might not see, but there are some little bits of plastic card in there. What I found I had to do was glue it together, squish it together, but then I took the back wall and placed it in. So I had the plastic card in there. They were glued in with really thick Tamiya glue. I put the back wall in, and that acted as a spacer, because if you just glue the parts together and leave them, then what you'll find is the back wall won't fit. It has to have a little bit of a gap, and every time you take the back wall off, if you glue it together, really just squish it together, it'll stretch and expand, and eventually you'll crack it and you'll break the paint. So what I did was I put the back wall in with those plastic card pieces so that when the wall goes in, the plastic moves apart, but the plastic card inside acts as a spacer. The glue sets, it locks, and it keeps you with a slight gap, so you can take the back in and out. And then I went in and filled it with the sprue goo. So if you are building this, make sure when you glue this together, you do use not the inner wall, but the outer wall as a spacer, and put some plastic card in there to hold the two sides apart, because you want a slight gap. And then I also had to take some of the bottom of the back wall off to make it fit. So that's all done. That just needs to go for painting now. So tomorrow, I think I'm going to start on the spine and all the tubes and that kind of stuff. Ooh. So I didn't get a lot of chance to do anything else really last week. So because I'm just doing this build at the minute, I'm not doing anything else alongside this build because there won't be enough space. So that's my last week.
Well, I've
apart from the haircut, but you know about that.
Yeah, the haircut was from last week. Good job you had your hat on when you sent it to eModels for the.
Yes. For some reason, I've now got less hair and my hat feels smaller. I don't know how that works.
Right. Yeah. As for me, I've sort of started spraying a few things for the U-boat, getting the paint on before it can all go together. And I've also been having a route around in the loft because we decided we would clear the loft out and get rid of a load of junk. And while I was up there, I found this. One or two of you may have noticed there's something behind me. So I thought, I could show that to the guys in the live stream, show them what I used to do in the old days. This is a part built, I think it's a 196 scale single hatch coaster. I think it's 196. It looks bigger than that. Could be 135th. It's a scratch built, apart from the hull. I'll check the little.
Ooh, Exia, Gundam Exia. Hello, Gundam Exia. Ted's one and only Gundam build.
Yeah, my one and only Gundam build. He gets about the workshop a bit. It's a fiberglass hull from a model boat manufacturer, and then everything else you scratch build onto these. So it's a little bit different from scratch build. From making model kits, because you need to build everything out of plastic card. So I thought, well, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't even know what's inside it. But this is how they go together. It's all flat plastic card, just built to a plan. This is as I said, it's a ship called the Arran Mail, which used to deliver, as the name suggests, mail around the Isles of Arran. And apparently it was lost with all hands in about the 1930s. So it's just a little kit to build. These are the plans we get. These are the plans for something like this. Printing a full set of plans.
How big is that?
It's huge. All the details are on here.
I've got road maps that are smaller than
that. These are all. It's all cut to size. Everything's printed off, and it all goes in like that. As I say, I haven't even had a chance to have a look at what's inside here. There's the hatch. All these hatches are designed to come off because there's a radio control set to go inside it. So we need easy access. So everything, that's what's the difficult part of building model ships, is that you've got to design it so that bits come apart and you can get into it. And the rudders and everything are all added on, and we make templates out of cornflake packets. Lots of sandpaper for sanding things. Looks like I've been making some wooden doors in here. It's ages since I've seen this. It must be years. Some teak doors, actual teak. They will all be finished, and in here we'll even see that we make little handles, portholes, and everything's there for it. But that is what I used to do all them years ago. Obviously, I will get around to finishing this sometime. But I have lots of other things on the bench at the moment. Even a funnel. There's a little funnel.
You're a funnel.
There's a funnel with all the little rivet details and everything in there. Anybody want to count the rivets? They're all in there. So yeah, so there's lots of bits and pieces of wood and bits of plastic, and one of the best things for wood model boat making, coffee stirrers. Sometimes, some places you can find them free. I don't know where that will be, but you can find them free. Yeah, but that's I thought it might be a little something that you could have a look at, and it brings back a few memories to me of how we used to do things. Like now, you can see where I like getting things big.
This is where I have to say it, Ted. I can't not say it. This is where you're supposed to say, I like big boats, and I cannot lie. Some other brothers building there.
Yes, yes, it's a big boat. Yeah, so it's just the reason I stopped building model boats is because they have got big, and they do get heavy, because something like that you're going to need £10 of weight just to get it down to the waterline because of the buoyancy of it. So you've got to carry that around with you, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore, and it became too big to get on the workbenches. So there we are. But now I'm building a 4-foot submarine.
Nothing changes, does it, Ted?
Nothing changes. What goes around comes around. So
yes.
it was. Sorry,
I was going to say we have a question.
Yes,
well, we have two questions. One is, how can you have just one Gundam? From Kimbar. I don't know. I've tried.
Yeah,
I tried to get him into it. He did that one. That was as far as it got.
I'll put it back on there. So, it's the crew. Yeah, crew. So it could sit there.
I'm still working on him, Kimbar. I'm still working on him. We'll get him building some kind of master grade at some point. And we have a question from Ron Mack. Question: can you explain the different colours of washes?
Huh. Do you mean wash? I take it means washes, not filters.
Yeah. I suppose ultimately, there's always going to be a lot of different colours of washes, purely because you'll do them for different things. For example, if your model is predominantly white, and if we're talking about pre-made washes, not washes you're going to make yourself, you always want to think about the colour of, say you're doing a pin wash, you want to think about the colour of the pin wash you're going to put on. So for example, like I said, if your model is predominantly white, you might not necessarily want to use a black pin wash because it'll look really stark. It depends what effect you're going for. If you're trying to simulate a gap between, say, two panels, if I've got a white model, let's say it's a Gundam or whatever it is, let's say it's a piece of white something, if you're trying to suggest that there's a panel line on the model and you've got gunk and dirt in there and things like that, and that's why you can see it, if you do it in black, sometimes it can just look like somebody's gone on with a paintbrush in the real, whatever you make, and say it's a tank or something like that. If it's white, it looks like soldiers gone along and got a paintbrush and gone with black paint in the panel line. Whereas what you want to suggest is dirt and dust. So you might want to use more of a lighter brown or earthy colour. So if you look at Ammo's panel line washes, there's all different colours. There's blue, black, and there's different versions of grey, and there's engine grime washes and streaking grime and things like that. So it's really, all the different colours are really to complement the colours of the thing you're building, because if you might just be wanting to suggest dirt and dust in the panel gap, you might want to suggest that somebody has painted that panel gap, or it might be something else you're doing completely. So that's my understanding of the question, is that's why there's lots of different colours. If you're making your own panel line washes or pin washes, then you can make whatever colour you like. Enamels and oils are the best because you can rub them off, clean them up. But yeah, a lot of people will just use black as a pin wash, and I always think that's a bit too stark. And the reason you'll get light coloured pin washes, like silvers and whites, is because if you've got a black model, you can't use a black pin wash. You can't go darker than black, so you might use a light grey or something like that to kind of suggest the reverse. So just have a think about whatever you're painting. Do some tests on some spare bits just to see what colour looks best. Is it, if it's a tank in the European theatre, then a muddy brown colour would do. If it's in the desert, then you might want more of a sandy tone, because it'll be sand and dust getting in the panel gap, not mud. Or if it's a rusty model, you might want a rusty panel line wash. Have a think about what your model is, where it's set if you're doing a diorama, or the story behind it, even if you're not, and what kind of thing you want to suggest with the panel line wash. And that should give you some ideas. And then just do some tests. But if you're making colours up out of oil paints or enamels, just have fun with it. Whatever looks best to you is always right.
Yep, that's about it. Yeah, do what you want. It's your model. If you can create a backstory for it, all the better. Because when somebody says, "Why is that blue?" Well, it's been through a paint factory. Yeah, that's your excuse.
Good question. I like that question.
Yeah, excellent question. Another.
Chris Williams tells me off because I said I wouldn't do Connery. Yes, we'll never believe a word that's not Sean Connery. That was
another question came in from Dave. Where's the rum gone, Barker? Question: when we were reminiscing about first kits, where we were reminiscing about the first kits we ever built in the boom hut. Could not remember Fox's first kit. Could you, Ted? Can you remember? Do you mean your first kit in the boom hut?
Somebody was suggesting about another boom hut build in the future, like remake a kit. The first kit you remember making that you probably made a complete hash of because you were like 6.
Mm-hmm.
They said for the next like group build we should do like go back and remake that kit and just see how you do now. And I was saying I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember what my first kit will be. It was probably either an Apollo lander or an Airfix Bugatti Roadster. You know, the one that came in red plastic in the 70s. It was like about 10 parts. Probably one of the, or in all truth, it probably was like I can't remember who. Apologies, I can't remember who posted the post up, but they said it was the Nat, the train, you know, the Red Arrows Nat.
Yeah,
it was probably one of those because it's usually a Nat or a Spitfire if it's a plane.
Yeah,
I can't actually remember, but can you remember yours?
I can't remember. I can remember the first model being built with my dad, which, as I've said before, was a Lancaster bomber. But my own particular first kit, I just don't have a clue. It's probably more or less, like you said, it's going to be a Spitfire or a Messerschmitt or something like that. But I just honestly can't remember. There's one or two kits I do remember building. I remember building Monty's Hummer. Is it Hummer? Humber? No, that's a new car. Humber. Monty's Humber.
My dad used to have a Humber in the 50s.
Yeah, with this windscreen behind the driver's seat. So I remember building that one many years ago. I just remember taking it to school, being for a show and tell. Oh yeah, that was about it. But I can't honestly remember what the first kit was I ever built. But I do remember. And now I don't know if anybody in here can help me or has even heard about it. I do remember building a Sherman tank from Tamiya with a full interior. And it had, because I remember painting it white, all the interior. And I remember that there was a crew in it. But since then, I can't find anybody that's ever heard of it. So am I just making it up? Did I dream it?
I don't know. I mean, it's not ringing a bell. I made a couple of Tamiya Shermans and they didn't have interiors. I didn't think were Tamiya even around in the 1950s? I don't know, but you know.
That's why people gluing things together with wood glue and things like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, if anybody in the comments knows that Tamiya kit, let Ted know and put him out of his misery. Because I'm going back in my memory to like being a kid and seeing the Tamiya magazines every year they came out, and you were looking through, going, I need all these kits. Wow. And I seem to remember there was a Sherman with an interior. I remember there was a Tiger with an interior as well. I'm pretty sure it was a Panzer. No, it might have been a Panzer IV, a Tamiya one with an interior. But yeah, they must be long out of production, maybe.
I particularly remember building the Sherman. I know it was 1/35th scale. It had an interior to it because I remember the fighting deck in the turret. I remember painting all that and clagging it, slapping it on in white paint. I had to get it in.
You had to get it in, Ted.
To get it in, slap it on.
I remember memories of the Tamiya magazine, and this is going back to the early 80s, where there were pictures of the tanks as cutaways with the red paint on the cutaway bit, and you could see inside it. To my like 11 or 12-year-old mind, the people that made them, they just looked amazing. They were incredible, and I was like, "Wow, how do you even make that?" I don't understand because I didn't paint models at that point. So, but yeah, I'm having a vague memory of a cutaway of a Panzer IV, I think. So there must have been a similar Sherman one.
Yeah, because I've been across to the Tamiya page and I posted on there, has anybody ever built this tank or is it still around? There must be one sat somewhere in somebody's stash that will have them from many years ago.
I mean, I will say, just to go back to the original question there, what was the first, just to remake an old kit? I know the first kit I painted, properly painted, because to a certain point I used to glue the kit together and then play with it and it'd get broken. But the first kit, I've told the story before, but the first kit I painted was a Tamiya Russian T-62A tank. And I remember going to school on the bus with a little matchbox with the commander who was there, this Russian dude. I painted him up and I put him in a matchbox and took him to school showing everybody they're proud. And if I look back on it now, if I still had it now, I'd look at it and go, it's probably like really, really badly painted. But to my like 13-year-old eyes, it was the best thing ever. And I was like, wow, I can do this.
Were you like Comport on Last of the Summer Wine that used to scare Nora Batty by opening his matchbox?
Yeah, look at that. On the front seat, top deck of the bus, there you go, on the way to school.
Showing people what was in your matchbox and making them, Okay,
Okay, we've got another question from Ron.
how many kits do we have in our stash?
I didn't even see your lips move. Well, you didn't even see my lips move.
Yeah, how many kits have you got in your stash?
6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's a kit 10, 11, if I'm counting the eagle. 12, 13. I would say 13, but there's also like 50 Warhammer dudes in that box that Vincent sent me for the Dark Vengeance set. So 63 technically if you count each figure as an individual model. 16 if you count it as just a single kit. And that's not include. Actually, no, add one. There's one down there that's something else. Yeah, that's. If we go off the figures individually, about 65 kits.
Yeah. Now, I think I've been asked this. I know I've been asked this question before. Now, I can't technically say that what's in my stash is mine because it's my son's. Well, that's another thing I'm sticking to.
That's what you tell Mrs. Ted, isn't it,
Yeah,
Ted?
it's not mine. It's my son's. I really only have in the stash probably one. I'm at a shop. I'm here.
You're over in the corner somewhere doing something. What are you doing over there?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, most of mine are under the bench. The only one I do have it in my stash is the AAC Matador. That's not it. That's the Suns. That's the Suns. That's over there, half done. The only one I do have in the stash is, I suppose, the Matador, which is partly built up here. So and that's about it.
Tell you, Ted, you're taking so long to build that Matador. It's like I'm making it.
Yeah, it's like the Millennium. It's another Millennium Falcon. Yeah, it's there, and I keep looking at it. And every time I come into the workshop, I think I must do a bit more on that.
Yeah, but Ted, you didn't film 6 episodes and then stop. I'll just get that in there now before anybody else does. There you go.
I did film 1 episode and then stopped.
There you go. That's even worse. Ted's worse than me.
Yeah, so I don't really have a stash because I tend to buy a model and build it, other than the Matador.
Gary Pashley says too many, 600 to 700.
Ooh,
my buying far outweighs my building, like most of us. I think your buying outweighing your building is more than most people in the chat. I think.
Gary,
wow,
can you have a look in the bottom of that stash? Maybe under maybe about number 2 or number 1, there might be a cutaway Sherman tank from Tamiya. Can you have a look? See if it's there.
While you're looking through that big stash, can you just have a look for the Ark of the Covenant as well? Because some top men put it away and we can't remember.
Yeah, we can't find it.
In your stash somewhere.
Yeah, so that's about mine. As I say, my stash is stored at eModels. I just had to provide them with money for storage, and they send me a kit every now and again. I provide money.
It's your personal warehouse.
Yeah. So
a couple more questions come in. Rhodey Hobby Corner. Hey, Rhodey. Question: is there a good or better varnish for metallics?
I probably wouldn't have thought of a good one to go over a metallic.
It depends on the metallic, though. I mean, if it's a difficult one because most gloss varnishes, if you put it over a metallic paint, will dull it slightly, but it might be the effect you want. So, Alclad, if you're using like a normal, say, an acrylic paint like Tamiya or Citadel or Gunze Sangyo, or the water-based acrylics or the alcohol-based acrylics, they're fairly good. They don't have such a metallic sheen that you're going to notice any difference, so any gloss varnish should be fine. If you're using something like Alclad or C1 metalizer powder, or using the Mr. Hobby Mr. Metal colors, anything like that, where they're lacquer paints or similar, and they have that proper real metallic shine, your gloss coat might kill it. Now, Alclad's Aqua Gloss is supposed to be designed to prevent that, so give that a try. I've never tried it myself, so I can't say for sure, but that's supposed to be very good. And there is that stuff from AK, or is it Vallejo? It might be AK, and it's the stuff I can't remember the name of, and it's supposed to be designed for specifically going over metallics, but I've heard there are potential issues with it coming off after a while. So
yeah, I like you. I tend to leave, if it's a good metallic, I tend to leave it alone and just let it leave it like that.
Yeah, I mean, if I've done it before in the past, and I would say if you've got a paint that's specific metal like Alclad or the Mr. Metal color or the C1 metalizer or something like that, the best thing you can do is if it's a model that you're not going to be handling at all, so it's going to get built and go in a display cabinet and that's it, then if you can, leave your metallics to the very end, put them on and leave it, because the best result you're going to get is from the metallic paint itself. Mr. Metal Colour are quite tough. They're lacquer paint, so they're not going to just come off when you handle it. Alclad paints are a little more delicate. Yeah, so that might be a bit more of a risky proposition. But yeah, if you can, sometimes it's best just to not do it at all. As long as it's a model you're not going to handle, or if you do, you're going to handle it with gloves, you should be all right. If it's the whole model, like you're painting a metal airplane, yeah, that's a bit more difficult. That's when you want to try your Alclad Aqua Gloss.
Yeah.
Or that other stuff that I can't remember the name of. I think it's AK Interactive, and it's called Glitzy or something like that. I'm blanking on it. And it's supposed to be very, very good, but I've heard a few rumors saying it can flake off after a while, but I don't know that for sure. So it could be an isolated case.
Yeah. Matthew Birtle said he's just counted his kits and he's got 30 of them. I guess people are counting the kits that they've got on the shelf now and surprising themselves, thinking,
yes,
how many?
What? I'm still married? Whoa!
Yeah, I better hide some of them before she finds out.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was another question. Have you got anything to add on that, Metallics, Tedward?
No, I'm trying to think of that name. I know the name that you're on about, and I just try to
Glitzy or they do two. They do a big pot which is for dipping things in, clear things in, and they do a little one which is you just airbrush it on and it's a gloss coat. And I've seen an other YouTuber, I'll leave it at that, who did some tests of it, and it did seem he was painting it over an Alclad painted plain bare metal plate, and it did actually seem to not dull the shine at all. But I think whatever you use, it is going to dull the shine a bit. It'll never look as good as when it's just the bare metal paint. I
think after the live stream tonight, it'll bug me enough that I'll have to go and Google it.
Yeah,
we'll find the result, and we might be able to answer that question next week.
Yeah. Kimbo123 says, how many people build one at a time and how many work on more than one at a time?
Well, I can sort of go for that one because I've got well, if you want to include this one now that I've found it.
That's back from biblical times, that Ted, with dinosaurs and everything.
It's probably a builder's model for the real thing back in the 30s. Yeah, I've got two on the go. Yeah, two. We've got the go and the U-boat, so I've got two on the go.
I would tend to have. Usually, I would have more than one on the go. I'd have maybe two, purely because I get bored really, really easily. Really easily, I get bored. Like I go, right, I'm going to do this now. I'm bored. So what I tend to do is I have two on the go, just so while I'm working on one, as soon as I get that kind of ennui and I'm like, I know to put it to the side and work on the other one. Until on that one, I get a bit bored, and then I go back to this one, and it keeps me interested, and it stops me getting, because there's nothing worse than trying to work on a model when you've lost, that drive, especially if it's a repetitive part like Gundam wings or tank tracks. So I'll swap between the two, but at the moment I can't because the Eagle is, I mean, it's small now. You've got the schnoz there, so I could be doing something else. But I know that once I get the spine and everything else built, it's this whole desk. Sorry, Odo. Odo says hi, by the way. The whole desk will be filled with it, so I can't afford to have anything else on the go. So at the moment it's one. I'll try and have maybe two on, just so I can bounce back and forth.
I know people ask about losing the mojo and things like that, which is usually a good thing to have a couple of models on the go, because especially when you painted something, you sprayed a whole batch, and then it's just waiting for the paint to dry. Drumming my fingers on the workbench.
It's louder than my typing that, Ted.
It's just a matter of waiting for the paint to dry, waiting for some glue to dry. So you might as well get on with something else, and just something a bit less intensive.
I mean, I might start doing from now on because Vincent very kindly sent me 58 Warhammer figures. Thanks, Vincent. In the
you lucky devil.
Eh?
You lucky devil.
You can't see it there, but I did actually label the box Spec Marines brackets, all of them. But what I'm going to start doing is when I've got a build going on, if I get to that bit of fatigue, I'll just stop and then I'll go off and paint a dude. Because I got myself a little palette, a little paint station thing. It's about this big, it's plastic, with little paint holder things and brushes. And what I can do is right now at this time of year, I can just come and sit outside and paint a dude, or I can work here on this desk, so I'm not taking stuff off that desk. So even while I'm doing this eagle, I'm thinking I might, if I get any sort of fatigue, I'll just sit here and work on a little dude. The lighting's not great, but I'm just painting a little dude, and that's relaxation. It refreshes you, and it just and sometimes I'll say another thing you can do is if you've got a kit that you're working on, it's a big long involved build, and you're getting kind of like, get yourself a secondary kit that's dead simple build. And this is where your little Revell kits and your Airfix kits come in great, because they're not really, you know, if it's a little sort of £5 or £10 kit, they're fantastic, because you can just futz with it and you can have fun with it and concentrate on the painting and not the build. So I wouldn't say have 2 challenging builds on the go. Some people that might work for, but sometimes I want to just purge, de-stress, reset. So I'll go off and do something that doesn't require a lot of thinking, like a figure or a little simple kit. And that's where things like the little £10 Airfix kits and the little sort of £5 or £10 Revell kits come into their own, because they're just nifty little builds. You can just have fun with it and just de-stress by focusing on the painting. So that's also a good idea.
You know, one of my feelings is that I'll get a kit like the Matador, and I think I'm going to do this, and I'll paint it like this, and I'll do that, and I'll paint it like that, and then I'll put it on a diorama. Well, I do all the painting, and I do all the bits, and I do all that, but when it comes to the diorama, I think, oh, there's something else shiny, and I'll go and do that, and the diorama will never ever get built. I can't get to it because of the big boat now. I've got some diorama pieces there for the Matador build sitting on the shelf ready to go, but I'll probably never get around to them. One, I haven't finished the Matador yet, but when it comes to doing the dioramas, I just, yeah, that's that finished. I'll move on and get another model going. So I've got loads of stuff.
That's just more your area of interest. Like, your interest is in building, painting the kit. The diorama's more like, it's like me. If I'm drawing a character, I'll draw the character, but then I really won't draw the background because I've lost interest at that point, because it's the character I'm interested in drawing. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just going back a moment to talking about the Sherman. Beyond Hope's obviously been doing some Googling, and he says, regarding the Sherman, are you thinking of the Verlinden set for the interior? Google's not helping much. No, it was certainly a full box of Tamiya stuff, no extras to it, because I didn't know anything about extras in them days.
What, were we talking 70s or 80s?
Yeah, I would think we were talking 70s, because I was certainly still at school. It was that long ago. Maybe it was
1870s. All right, okay.
Yeah, ye olde Tamiya.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, it's not around now. I've googled it. It was probably maybe some limited edition back from that long ago. But yeah, it was certainly a full. Had an interior, or certainly a fighting compartment in the turret. But no, I can't find it now. But thanks for looking.
Gone into the mists of time.
Yeah,
that
gone
one.
into the mist. One day it'll pop up. I'll see it at in some museum worth millions.
Yeah, and you'd be like, oh,
if I had one of them now.
A couple more questions I've spotted. Ant from Bashing Kit says, "What men, Fox?" And I say, "Top men, top men."
Am I missing out? Yes, yeah.
Scott Sutherland from Orkney.
Orkney.
Yes.
Aaron Mail. I'm sure it must have delivered a post to
Odo says, "Hello, Scott." I noticed the other day, I've got Odo and I've had him for about 3 weeks now. I noticed there's some white stuff on the back of him. I think that's actually bird poop from when he was at the garden centre, so I'm not going to touch that bit of him. I need to clean it off. Scott asks, have I eaten the ration pack yet? Remember last week I said I'd ordered a British Army ration pack, menu number 15. No, not yet. Tony, the other guy that does the eModels builds, he's doing his Challenger tank. Tony's ex-Army, and he's ordered one. He's ordered a menu 18. And what we're hoping to do is get together and do like a group or a co-op ration eat day, where we'll both go through our respective ration packs and probably feel really bunged up afterwards. And he's got experience of these things, so he can explain things to me as I'm doing it. So we're hoping to film that. So not yet. Stay tuned. Maybe in the next few weeks we're going to do that.
We've only got one question that's come through. There's a thing scrolling on there. I've only got one question that's come through this week.
Oh, Gauzy. Northern Modeler says Gauzy. It's AK Interactive Gauzy. Is that
Gauzy
stuff? Yes, thank you, Northern Modeler.
Thank you.
Gauzy. I've heard it's very, very, very good, but I've heard a few people, voices of dissent, just say it goes a bit flaky. I don't know. It might have just been a couple of people who had a dodgy pot. So definitely worth checking out. AK Interactive Gauzy.
A question of really a little bit off the modelling topic, but perhaps not, because it's something you do at the bench. It's a question by Paul Stewart. Mr. Teddington Skipperham. Yep. Struggling for a bit of a relevant question tonight. Well, I think this is fairly relevant. What do you listen to when you're at the bench but not filming? Yeah, when we've got them moments of solitude, when we're just building, what do you listen to at the bench? For me, I've been catching up this week on Glastonbury. As I said at the start, I usually have a bit of music on in the background. Sometimes it's Radio 2 on the iPlayer, sounds of the 60s, sounds of the 80s, and Pick of the Pops. Takes me back. Nostalgia. That's what I usually listen to. And I just have it built out in the background.
Cool.
Nice, easy listening.
Before I answer, David Moore says, is it the Tamiya M4 Sherman early production?
I've no idea. I just remember it was a Sherman tank.
Write that down.
Yeah, it was a Sherman tank, and it was white on the inside, and it was green on the outside. And sure, it had a crew. It had a crew as well. I'm sure it did.
Now, I have to say, Ted, I'm most disappointed because I was hoping you'd come up with some like hardcore, nerdcore dubstep type music that you listen to and shock us all. But
no, I'm a simple man
with simple taste. There's two things I'll listen to. I will sometimes listen to, well, either music or a podcast. My podcast of choice is the Giant Bombcast from Giant Bomb, the video games website, because it's hilarious and they've got years worth to listen to. If it's music, I have really weird taste in music. So it could be anything from the Deep Space Nine soundtrack to... what else have I got? A load of Penguin Cafe that nobody will know what Penguin Cafe is, but go and look at Penguin Cafe. It's the happiest music in the world. You can't feel any negative emotions when you listen to Penguin Cafe. If you've ever watched a BBC like documentary or science program, you'll recognize a lot of the tunes. But I'm also a big lover of library music, which sounds really weird, but orchestral library music. It's the music that people like the BBC and production companies will go to a place that sells library music like KPM or there's some other places, and they'll have thousands and thousands of tracks of music, a lot of them performed by an orchestra that are licensed to the production company to use in their program. So if you watch, say, a BBC science program, there's always going to be loads of library music in there. And I did some research because Horizon, the BBC science program Horizon, uses a lot of the same music all the time, and it drove me nuts. I had to go and find out who it was, and I found it was a guy called Paul Mottram. And I've managed to acquire a big collection of various composers, like library music for TV production. And it's great because it's like the best of movie soundtracks and TV soundtracks, but it's all the little hooks and bits that are the most interesting. So I can sit there painting away, humming away to myself while I listen to library music, which is really weird.
Would that be copyright? Is it copyright? Could we use that?
You have to pay a lot of money. Basically the music is purely written to be then sold to production companies to license it to use it in TV production of a movie production. So it'll always be like a lot of it is very generic. So it'll have like instead of being like a normal piece of classical music where it's all varied, never, they'll do it very specifically. So it'll be like, one might be very piratical, the next one might be very home counties, 1950s golden age Britain type music and lots of lush strings. The next one might be sci-fi chasey music, and it's just designed for background music. But it's great because it's like all the best bits of classical music potted, so you get the nice hooks and themes. If you like John Williams soundtracks like Star Wars and things, it's that kind of I can't remember the word now, leitmotifs, where you have a different theme for different characters. It's just distilled, and it's just, I love it. Can't get enough of it.
Dave, where's the rum gone back? Says, have you been listening to lift music on the Hammond organ?
Not quite that kind of music.
That takes me back a little bit because my parents were always into some fella. I can't remember his name now, but he played the Hammond organ. So my house was always, as a kid, my house was always full of this Hammond organ music. So I do know where it's come from. Yeah, it's lift music, the sort of music that you would find a popular tune, but it would be played on the Hammond organ.
Yeah, I played synthesizer for I've got 15, 20 years. I had a little recording setup, but in the last few years,
Wunderlich. So yeah, that's it.
Wunderlich, yeah.
Klaus
Wunderlich.
Wunderlich.
I know that name. For the last sort of 5 or 10 years of his life, my dad, he got Hammond organ, like a proper old, massive, like 1950s, 1960s, I think it was, big thing with a massive speaker in the bass, but you could plug headphones in, and it was clunky and everything. And I'd grown up playing synthesizers and, you know, making sounds and creating waves, and this thing was just so simple. It was brilliant. Unfortunately, I had no way to actually use it to record it. Wasn't able to hook it up, but my dad would sit there playing away on with headphones on. It looked great. Had just a really nice sound to it. It was cheesy as heck, but it was good.
Natty Bliss says Hammond organ music, Rimmer's favourite. Does that mean that I've actually got a little sort of a background sci-fi there?
Well, what's more impressive is that you know who Rimmer is, so
yeah,
you get 10 points for that, mate. Level up.
Yeah, level up. Yeah. Oh God. TK, I said further up there, was saying that he likes soothing rock music, metal music. Yeah, I can imagine.
Alan makes a very good point. Alan says Ted and Fox look better in cartoon form. Yes, whoever drew that, it was very complimentary.
Yeah, I did have a big tank under my arm, slapping it on.
Well, I said to Ted earlier on, and I remarked that the artist has managed to make Ted look younger and me look more rugged. So it's a win-win, basically. I'm not going to complain.
He could have shot my hair. Could have had a haircut before, perhaps. Yeah.
No.
And it's grey. He's painted my hair grey.
I know it's not like the normal brown or anything like it.
It's metallic.
It's metallic. It's flat aluminium with some chrome silver dry brush.
My hairdresser calls it salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
There's a bit of black in there. Yeah, it's salt and pepper. Another question come through from Jamie Bourne. Hi, Ted and Fox. I'm inquiring on how to do German World War II Normandy camouflage on 1/72 plastic soldier company figures. With difficulty. Yeah.
Are we talking about the broken up color patterns? For
yeah,
the sort of patterns like that
I can't remember the name of it now. Yeah,
the rain things, the flickers and stuff.
The smocks.
Yeah.
I think
that scale.
It's more going to be a representation than anything sort of detailed.
I mean, you could do it with a really, really, really fine brush.
Yeah.
Like a really fine army painter or your Winsor & Newton Series 7s, something like that. But when you get down to that size, the more you try and paint something correctly, the less convincing it looks. You get to a certain point where it's a trade-off between getting it to look exactly right or getting it to look right at a distance. So I'm stumped on that one. I've never tried to do camouflage.
What I'd be tempted to do, if you've got a number of figures sort of all grouped maybe around a machine gun or something like that, I'd probably be tempted to paint them in different shades of brown and greens and greys. Paint each one differently, sort of give a variation of an indication that there's something going on there. But to paint a speckled sort of camouflage at that scale, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. I mean, any kind of traditional speckle method you might use, like stippling or sponging or getting some paint on a brush and blasting it with the airbrush to get the splatter, you're just going to get big splats and it's going to look really weird. So I'd maybe think if there's any way not to use that camouflage pattern. But that's kind of the lazy thing to do.
Yeah, that's Matthew Drake has just sent me an email. I was going to reply to say thank you, but I'll just say it on there. Thank you very much, Matthew. I'll have a look at that later.
Okay. Another quick question. Another one from Ron Mack. Explain the different grit of... I'll put my teeth in. Explain the different grits of sandpaper, 600, 400, 1000, etc., etc.
I can't remember which way around it goes. Which way around does it go? Can you remember?
Yeah. The way to think of it, and this isn't what it actually means, but this is how I remember. Imagine you've got a square centimetre of sandpaper. The number tells you how many chunks are in that square centimetre. It's not the right way of thinking about it, but it helps me. So if it's, say, 400 grit, imagine in your mind that means there's 400 sharp, sticky out bits in that piece of paper, on that little centimetre square. So they're probably quite big and quite rough. If you've got 3000 grit, it means there are 3,000 little particles on that piece of tiny paper, which means they're probably really small and quite fine. So the smaller the number, the rougher and more harsh the paper. The bigger the number, the smoother. So if you look at, say, 80 grit, that's going to take plastic off your model. If you look at 6,000 grit, that's a very, very fine polishing, buffing kind of sandpaper or sanding stick to get the smoothness and the shine coming back. So if you are sanding something, you always start with the smaller number and work your way up. If you're, say, sanding something that you want to be nice and smooth, start with the rougher grit. So on a model, you might start at, say, 400 or 800 grit, or maybe even higher. Depends what you want to do. Start with the smaller number. So let's say 400 grit. So you're sanding a nub away or something, and then you go over it with a higher grit again because it's smaller bit, so it clears away the sanding marks. But that leaves sanding marks. Then you go with a higher grit again, so a bigger number, to sand away these sanding marks and leave some even finer. And the higher you go, every time you sand, it leaves sanding marks, but the higher the number gets, the less marks it leaves, and eventually you're just polishing it. So start small and work you up to the bigger numbers.
Tony Black says size 1 is a boulder.
Yeah.
So a brick.
Yeah, 1 grit is 1. If the grit was 1, you'd have that square centimetre of paper with a just stone stuck on it, and you'd just be like,
so thank you for that, Tony. Yeah, I remember last week we spoke about polishing, didn't we? Where your coarser grits are actually for removing material, and your finer your polishing grits are for actually taking the scratches out, and removing the scratches allows the light to bounce on your product, so it makes it shine. So that's what it's called.
Alan says Foxx has a bird in his bedroom. Oh, matron.
Oh, matron. Oh,
yes.
Oh, matron.
Most action in this room's had in about 10 years, but moving on.
This is a family show.
Yes. Yeah, Chris Williams says apparently it is the number of sharp particles per square inch. So I wasn't far off.
Yeah, it's technical. Yeah, that's technical.
The smaller the number, the rougher it is.
That's an exam answer, isn't it?
Mm.
You get more points in your exam answer if you said that.
Yeah, I don't do exams. I don't even get points to put my name in. I'd probably get that wrong. So.
I've no more questions come through for me, and there's chat seems to be talking a lot between themselves. So should we go and have a look at what's in store?
Yes,
we've got
this is where I take over.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a new department for eModels this week. They've created a new page on their web page, which they've called Offers.
Yes,
and it's certain particular items in store which are on offer. How long for? We don't know.
Let me do a little bit of a screeny sharey.
Yeah. Gary Pashley says the Sherman kit was definitely Tamiya. Yes, it was. Wasn't the 1970s vintage monogram 1/32 M4 Sherman plastic? No, it wasn't. No, it didn't have clear plastic parts. So no, it wasn't that one. It was definitely no, it wasn't cutaway, and it didn't have clear parts. It was that you took the turret off and you could see all the breech and the basket and the fighting floor. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's good. Good of Foxx as well. For this one, yeah.
Fighting floor sounds like a Scouse wedding.
Yeah, fighting.
Do you want to lock the screen on me, dear boy, and I'll do my
yes,
little screen thing? Let me know when this is locked.
Not to knock my lemonade over.
Don't knock your lemonade over.
Right, there we go. It's
okay.
over to you.
Now, I don't know how you do this so fast so you don't show half your desktop, but I'm going to try this now. So let me do this. So share the screen, go to that tab. Okay, you should be seeing a lovely eModels page.
We could see the eModels page.
Yes. Now, new on the eModels website. If you go along on the front page, you'll see along the menus now, there's a little tab that says Offers. Basically, you guys have been asking Peter for a long time, we're going to do any discounts, any special offers? Can we get any, offers on things like that? And he's listened and he said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to set up this page called Offers. And what his aim here is, it's going to be updated regularly, possibly even daily. They'll go in, they'll have a look and see what they can do. What they're looking at doing is taking the stuff that they think you would get the most benefit from, the stuff that you really want to pick up, that you would be keen to see a nice little tip of the hand as a way of saying basically thank you for being a customer, thank you for being awesome. They're going to do you some favors on some of the stuff you might quite fancy getting. So what you would say is check this page as often as possible. It could be updated daily. Some of the stuff will be on here just for a day, some might be on for a week, some could be on for a month, so you never know. So it's always worth checking it regularly. So you can see here we've got loads of stuff. My computer's apparently going quite slow because I've got all these tabs open. There is loads of stuff on here. We have everything from kits. I'll go through a couple of these. We've got figures, we've got kits, we've got armor, there's planes. Are there fully 6 pages of it? Let's have a look. 6 pages, is that the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's 8 pages, there's more. There's tons. Awesome I can never say this. Kotobukiya 12 scale Superman, if you like that kind of thing. I'm more Batman than Superman. There's all kinds of armor, vehicles, and not just that, there's also paints and equipment and tools. So what I've done, I've picked up a few here, so I'm going to have a look at some stuff that's in, but go and check it out. There's loads of stuff on here, and they're all on sort of special sort of offer prices. Could be a few quid, could be quite a lot. So go and have a look and see what might tickle your fancy. But these will change all the time, so it's always worth checking it out. If you're in store and you're buying something, pop in and have a quick look and see what else is on. First off, we'll start off.
Oh, ship.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor for our podcasting skills. It's the Titanic. This is the.
Yeah, please, no spoilers here. We don't want to know how it ends.
Yeah. There's options how you can build this one. Many diorama options will present themselves. This is the Minicraft 1350 RMS Titanic, the deluxe edition, which has dropped from $159.90 to $129.95. And I've seen this kit built, and it is a really, really nice kit. It's loads and loads of detail. You could have great fun. I've always had the urge to get a Titanic, but build it in a bottom of the sea diorama. I don't know if that's wrong. I don't know if that's like a bad thing to do, but some people have done it.
TK could put it with his shrimp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the bottom of his fish tank. So it's 1/350 scale. So it's a good size of kit. It's a nice meaty kit to get your thing into. And if you build ships, let's be honest, if you're into building ships, it's kind of one of those you have to build it kits. A bit like if you're into planes, you have to do a Spitfire at some point. If you're into tanks, you've got to do a Sherman at some point. If you do ships, you kind of have to do a Titanic at some point.
Yeah. Tony Black says, "Can you get extra lifeboats for it?"
No,
no.
You don't get little figures to put on the front either.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that one. Now let's have a look at the next one. What's the next one? This is the Edward Weekend 1/72 Spitfire Mark 9C late version. Now, you all know Edward from doing their photo etch kits and things. They also do the full kits as well, and they are really, really good. And this is just a nice little, as it says, it's a weekended kit. It's a nice little 1/72 kit. Not too complicated, not like millions of parts. It's just a fun, quick build. And like I was saying earlier on when we were talking about you get your fatigue on the big build that you're doing, you want to take a little break, take a quick 5 minutes, a couple of days off just to refuel and regroup. Something like this is great. It's just a little simple build you can have great fun with. Edward do really great kits. I don't know if there's any photo etch in there. I can't remember. There might possibly not be. It was $8.99. It's now $7.50. $7.50, and you get a few days of build.
Anything extra, but Edward, the good kits. Yeah, they do lots of stuff.
You can't complain for $7.50. It'll keep you busy for a few days, let you refresh and restore yourself. There. What's next? Let's do another air and plane and Gefahrten. Next up, we have the Airfix 1/24 Hurricane.
Now, I've got this in the shed, which has reminded me that this is another unfinished kit that I've got somewhere.
Oh, Tedward.
Yeah.
It really is a pile of shame for you, isn't it?
Yes, you're shaming into all my confessions now.
What we really know, Ted, is that the only kits you actually finish are the one you're doing for eModels, because you have to finish those.
Yeah, we have to get that one done. Yeah.
But if go on, sorry.
Yeah, it's an all-tool kit, but it's still a cracking size, and it's pretty good. Yeah, and for Airfix, an old kit. It's got the usual sort of faults and things like that, but yeah, it comes together brilliantly. And
they've got the new range of like new releases, like your Tiffy, haven't they? Which are all completely renewed molds. These are some of the older moldings, so they need a bit of cleanup. Some of the seam lines are a bit ropey, but that's Airfix for you. Not a problem. Have fun with it. But it is 1/24, and it's gone from $65 to $49.99. Hello, 1/24 is huge.
It's big, yes.
Yeah.
I would show you the hull, the fuselage, but I can't. No, I can't
hull.
see it.
It also comes with 15 acrylic paints, as you know, some of these these remoldings, or well, they're not retoolings, they're re-releases of old toolings. They do 15 of the colours, but you probably got your own colours anyway. But they're handy to have. You get 2 brushes and 2 cements. Some of you out there will probably find that really good. Some of you will already have paints and glues and everything else, and you use those. But it's nice to get them in there.
It's nice to give as a present for somebody that's,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a young kid, but a kid that wants to get into building stuff, and it's got some paints and things there with it, and you could sit down at the bench with you, and you could show him the way to go. And
yeah. I do actually remember making this tooling of the Hurricane when I was a kid, this 1/24 scale. And it was the best thing ever, because I was like about 9, I think, and my dad got it me as a present, and I was like, "God, this thing is massive!" And it was brilliant. And I was only 9 years old. I had the best time making it because it was just great. So, if you've got a son or a daughter and they've got a bit of skill with the model making, there might be an option. It's a nice big kit which they'll love.
It's reminiscent of the wagon wheel, isn't it? When you were a kid, wagon wheels were huge.
Yeah.
And as a kid, these would be a huge aeroplane.
Oh yeah, and that's why I loved it, because then when I made it, I played with it. I had a massive fighter plane. I didn't paint it. I was, only a kid. Yeah. So that's and who doesn't like a Hurricane? It's second only to the Spitfire, which is of course the best plane ever made by human beings ever. Argument over. What's next? Next up, we have something a bit weird. I'll just close that one down. My computer keeps telling me I'm having performance issues. The next one is something a bit weird. It's this thing, the Tacom 135th Krupp Raumer S Selbststrandtreib.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, Selbststrandtreib. Which you look at it and you think, what the heck is that? And I had to read it to find out what it was, and it's kind of awesome. It's a heavy mine clearing vehicle. And it comes with workable wheels, no mines not included. I didn't even know this thing existed, but obviously it did.
I've not seen that before.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's World War One or World War Two. I'm guessing World War Two. But I guess it's not World War One. Must be World War Two. Is
that the scale of it? Is that the guy on the box next to the wheel? Back
I think. Well, I don't think that's how big the kit is, but
but how big it would have been in real life?
Yeah. So you imagine how big a 1/35th figure is. It's quite a big kit, and that's down from 47 to 37.95. It's taken a good tenner and a few quid off, a few pennies off there. And that looks awesome. I would see that and see a lot of potential either to do a straight up, it's a World War II vehicle, or I could get sci-fi on its backside.
People saying in chat it's World War II.
Yeah, I think it would be. It does look a bit advanced for World War One, but can you imagine the potential for kit bashing that into some kind of futuristic sci-fi vehicle?
Yeah, we'd go with those figures that Tony's just built. What were the Skeletor type things?
Skeletor.
Skeletor. I'm not sure my age.
Do you mean the Terminators?
The Terminators, that's them. Yeah.
Sci-fi in it, Ted. You just don't do sci-fi.
Sorry, people. I don't do sci-fi. So, I'm trying to keep the conversation going, but
yeah. I can imagine that's like not going to be a complex build because there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of surface things sticking out and wheels, and it's just 4 wheels and 2 chunky bits. So it's probably quite a nice chunky build, but there's a lot of potential there to mess with that. And like I said, I'd build it as a World War II kit or go sci-fi on its rear end.
Yeah,
you can have a lot of fun with that. 37 quid. I'd bet for that.
Yeah, Gary Pashley says World War II. What if? Yeah, I probably think it would have been a what if.
Yeah. I don't know if it was actually real. This is my failing of not knowing that much of the World War II armor, but I don't know if this is a real thing or is this a
Tony Black says it'd go well with Warhammer.
Yes, actually, yes. Get your Space Marines on that and stuff. Get some Aquilas stuck on it, and you could do some more hammering with that. Because Warhammer figures are sort of a bit like 1/35th, or sort of. And then last of all, another something little funky, bit different because we've not done one of these before. We've done motorbikes. It's this puppy, the 1/9 scale German military motorcycle with sidecar.
1/9, is that Action Man size? What size is Action Man?
Action Man was 1/6 maybe. Now I don't know if 1/9 scale figures are a common thing. I don't know, so maybe you can get figures that you could put with this. But I think it looks awesome. I mean, I've made so many of these in little Tamiya 1/35th kits because you often get a vehicle and then the motorbike and sidecar as well. This is just the whole kit, down from $54.99 to $41.99. So you're saving a nice chunk on there, and it looks like it's going to be quite nice and complicated with all the tubes and pipes and bits and bolts, because this is proper old school mechanical vehicles. I think somebody could have a lot of fun with this. A lot of fun getting it all weathered up and getting it all dirty and muddy, or you could do it clean. I think it's begging for dirt and dust though. But you know, you could have a lot of fun with that. If you're into your motorbikes, it certainly makes a nice change from the the racing bikes and the motocross bikes and things like that. I think this would be a nice change. You get some nice decals with it. Let's have a look.
TK is that the BMW bike? I probably tend to think, most of them were BMWs. Yeah, there's the decals for it, BMW.
Yeah, BMW. You tend to find a lot of World War II German vehicles. The model makers don't tend to refer to them as BMW or Opel. Like I've said before with the Opel Blitz, if you get a model of an Opel Blitz, it's not very often that you actually get the Opel Blitz badge on the front. It will just be a flat piece of plastic, because Opel don't allow them to do it, because they don't want to remind people that they did stuff in the war. So it may be that BMW haven't allowed them to say it's a BMW, but they've got the BMW logo, so they've got it there.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of options there for different regiments. So yeah,
I like the little sort of the VIN plate markings as well, the kind of like informational plates, the sort of stamped metal black and white, silver and white black plates.
It's going to be big at 1/9, so it's going to be fairly detailed, I would have thought.
Yeah. I would. Again, the funny thing is, these are all the kind of things I don't normally build, but I look at them and think, you know what? Because the beauty of that is you're not looking for a nice shiny finish like a proper modern bike. You're not looking for anything sparkly, and you're looking for, it's a military vehicle. It's going to be matte colours. It's going to be simple colour scheme. You could have a lot of fun with that, and the weathering potential. You know, you could scratch build some leather straps and things like that, and bits and bobs, and have fun with that one. But yeah, so that's going to do us for that section. So do go out and check. Do go along and check the offers section on the website. I say the guys at eModels are going to update it as often as they can. It could be they'll add something every day. They'll do big updates every now and then. Some stuff will be on there for quite a while. Some stuff may be only on there for a day or a week. Could be a month. So
I know they'll cross-reference it, but it's always worth going in there first to have a look at if you're searching for something in particular, a particular model. Go and have a look in offers first. It could be there. I'm seeing really what's on.
Yeah, but I was talking to the guys at eModels, and they were saying that the intention of this is really it's by way of a thank you. Everybody's been asking for special offers and things like that for so long, and they've got so many awesome customers that are just regular customers, and they look after their customers really well. So it's just by way of saying thank you. This is the stuff we think you guys would appreciate discounts on the most. So come back and check it. We'll have them rolling all the time. We'll see what we can do on some of these kits. So done.
And as you see there, as before we leave, it's not all kits. There's tools and glues and paints.
Yes, I managed to choose the pages where there were no actual paint kits, but there's some weathering magazines and painting magazines. See if I can find one. You guarantee I won't. You've got some of the
there's some paints down there.
Some ammo paint sets. You've got some really nice. There's some nice Dragon and Tacom kits on here as well. So you know, it's not stuff that's not shifting off the shelves or anything like that. This is good quality stuff that they want to help you out and do you some favors with. So go and check it out. Anyway, I shall unstop the magic button. How do I stop screen sharing? There we go. You want to take it off me now, and I'll stop talking?
Take it off you. Hi.
Yes, my computer might stop panicking now because it's
not out of focus.
Panicking.
Yeah. Right. Where were we? That created a lot of chat in the chat. That did. A lot of interest. Yeah. So, right now, what we're going to do? Should we have a giveaway?
Yeah, let's do the giveaways, Ted. Over to you with your giveaway shenanigans.
Over to me with the giveaway. Well, first things first is the Models mug for the Scale Model Enthusiast. As it says there, Scale Model Enthusiast, eModels mug. And now I've got to think of a question.
Oh, we never planned this, do
we? We never plan the question. That's because that's the way it is.
Okay, I've got a question.
All right, go on then. I'll think of, and I'll rack my brains to think of one for a T-shirt.
Okay, you've got 4 possible answers. Here is an Xbox controller. I've got my finger on one of the buttons. It's A, B, X, or Y. Now I'm going to ask you which one it is. When I say go, put your answer down. As always, we'll go for the first comment that gets the right answer that we see. Obviously, it will vary for what you see, but we'll see the first one that comes up. So, is my finger on A, X, B, or Y? Go.
We've got some there. X, X, Y, Y.
Let's just shut up. I've lost track now. Whoa. Okay. Matthew Bittle says C. Looks like the first one to get it. It was on X, and the first one to get it is Lord Barclay III Toomey, who says X. First off the post on our thing here.
Yeah, glad you could do that because it's just the chat is just shot as we're.
There we go. Little screen share. Can you see it now? I know you're getting some Inception nonsense going on. But Lord Barclay III Toomey there was the first one, so I'll stop sharing that.
Oh, hang on.
Have you got it?
Yeah.
There you go. So we had A, C, 42, and X. So Lord Barclay III Toomey. If you can send an email to ted@emodels.co.uk.
I've just put it in the chat there. Ted@emodels.
How do I stop screen sharing? Go away. There you go.
Well done. Yeah, should back in focus. I'll unlock it off you now.
There you go.
There we go. We'll go back to normal. Yes.
We really are getting this like desperately random with these.
Yeah, we're really getting random.
Yeah. What am I looking at right now?
Yeah, right.
Was that for a mug? Was that for a mug?
It was locked on me, but I did unlock it and it went over to Foxx. So
okay.
I can see it now.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll do a t-shirt draw shot in a moment. When I've had a chance to think of a question. Right. I'll maybe Google something. Right.
If you see us both looking around, it's because we're thinking, what can I ask a question about?
All right. Yeah, I've got a question. We'll do a question now for. You'll have to Google this one. Yeah, you'll have to Google this.
Mike Mountain says cheese and onion.
TK says tea cakes. No. After a message from our sponsors and the t-shirts, are the t-shirts available to buy, says Tony Black. I don't think they are actually. I think it's the last of stock that eModels had in. And on that note, I only have 2 sizes left. I either have medium or XXL. So you'll probably be able to use it as a night shirt unless it fits. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can either have medium or XXL. And then you'll have to Google this one. I think I'll do it as a question about work. Lake Windermere has 3 steamers. The Tern, the Teal, and what's the name of the 3rd ship on Windermere? Go. So I'll have to Google this, I bet.
I'll just type Windermere in so they know how to spell it when they're doing the search.
Yeah.
That's how you spell Windermere. I'll put it in the chat for you. Now, I'm depending on you now because I don't know the right answer. So
there we go. Chris Henderson says the Swan. Well done, Chris Henderson.
Oh, lovely. Let me just screen share that for you. If it stops moving. Oh, it's moving too fast.
Northwest Modeler says Tonka. No, that was last week. Ian Modeler says Titanic. Yeah.
Dave said Swift, but then Chris said the Swan.
Yeah. Paul Stewart says Swan as well. Never mind.
Lovely.
Robert Greery says Titanic, where it's hiding.
Titanic. Yeah.
The Black Pearl.
So again, Chris, send your details, address, and stuff to ted@emodels.co.uk. Put it in the chat for everyone. There you go.
Thank you very much. Yep. We'll get you, once again, I'll get you a t-shirt sent off as soon as possible. The winner, I can't remember the name of last week's winner. I managed to get your t-shirt in the post this morning, so it should be here with you tomorrow or the day after. So yeah, I do apologise for the delay, but it's just a matter of getting from Lake Windermere to the post office during opening hours. But you'll get your t-shirt eventually, but thank you. Right, that's the 2 giveaways.
Cool. Any word from on high? Do I need to?
No, there's been no contact this evening. There's been no messages from above.
The dove from above.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll carry on. We'll draw last week's winner. We'll not draw. The winner has been drawn from last week. And we'll announce that before we go off here. Right, which won't be too long actually, because I did notice time is knocking on now. So, chance to get your questions into us if you have anything else left. Even as, we haven't had for a long time any silly questions not related to modelling, because remember, your questions and the chat doesn't have to relate to modelling. It could be anything just to keep the conversation going and keep us waffling on.
Just to interrupt you there, some with very important information. Lynn Dipple, hi Lynn, is in the chat and she says, Fox, I got a package for you, waffles.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Send me a message on the Facebook, Lynn. We'll sort that out.
Right. What was it last week? Last week it was the
we've got a question. Ted, this is from Mr. Loaf, from Vincent. Ted, why the moustache? Is it a Bobby thing?
Bobby thing,
as in police thing.
Oh, right. I think I grew it in my youth in the 70s
when it was the done thing,
when it was fashionable, and they now seem to be coming back into fashion. So I've kept up with the times. Yeah.
It's like my dad had a moustache in the 70s. He had a proper Zapata moustache like that. When it was trendy, and then in the 80s when it wasn't, he shaved it off, and we were all kids, and we were like, so we had to grow it back because it wasn't right without it.
Yeah, I keep saying to my wife, "Can I shave the moustache off?" No. I give it back. Yeah.
We've got some coming through here, so I'll go through them quickly. Phil Davis says, question, have you watched any Lex yet? He's asking that to me. I did. I watched the first episode. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I can't watch any more of it. I do apologize, but I can't. It's just, it was like pouring boiling water into my eyes. I couldn't watch it.
Enigma Adam says, if you could force a model on the other, what would it be?
I'd force Ted to make a Bane blade.
I'd force Foxx to make a tank. A big tank. A big tank.
Big tank. You just want me to make tracks, don't you?
Yeah, I want you to make tracks, and I want it weathered, and an interior that you'll never ever see.
I know it's me giving you a Bane blade, which isn't that complicated. Just massive. Tony Black says, my beard looks better in the cartoon. I actually shaved it before I came on. It wasn't quite as... When I took the photograph, it was all lush with foliage. Then I had to have a bit of a shave, so it's a bit... My beard always looks good in cartoons, never in real life.
Gary Pashley says custard or bourbons. Custard creams or bourbons. I can't decide. Bourbons. Custard creams for me. Custard creams.
Oh, no. Custard creams are like, they drink with a cup of tea, but
I like to split them and bite the cream off.
It's an old lady's biscuit. It's like it's like rich tea, or just the blandest thing in them. My mum loves them, rich teas and things, but I can't do rich teas. They're just too boring.
Just before it disappears, Matthew Birtle says, how many gallons of H2O are there in Windermere? Now, there actually there's a Google. If you Google it, it tells you somewhere, because I've seen it. And it also tells you that it takes 3 days for Windermere to empty and refill. So if a bit of water came in at the north end, it would take 3 days before it went out at the bottom end. Useful information, that.
Where are we? I saw a question then. I just need to... Oh, yes, there we go. Ron Mack, what's the worst sci-fi you've ever seen? Let's have a look. Now, Alan says the worst sci-fi was Star Crash. I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure what that is. The worst one I've ever seen, it's got to be Battlefield Earth. Although Lex, I don't know, you see, until I watched Lex, Battlefield Earth with John Travolta was just like train wreck. It's like, what? It was almost so bad it was good, but not quite enough, so it was just so bad. But then I watched Lex, and now I'm like, I don't know.
I think that often things that are bad become cult viewing because they're so bad.
Unfortunately, with Battlefield Earth, it just stays bad. It's just. I had to watch it out of curious interest to see how bad it was, and yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'll go back to modelling. Paul Stewart there. I'm just catching the questions as the chat moves up very quickly. Paul Stewart asks, why is white paint such a beep to paint with?
It is the order of things.
Yeah, it is. I think it's the pigments in it, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same as yellow. Yellow has the same problem. I think it's the way. I tend to think it's the pigments.
Yeah, it must be a way that the pigment works. Like most coloured paints, the pigment is just coloured pigment. But I don't know if with white it's different. is it a pigment that's coloured white, or is it just like a reflective pigment, like polar bear hair? Polar bear fur is actually clear. It's not white. If you look at a strand of polar bear fur, it's actually like optical fibre. But when you put it on a polar bear with billions of other fur strands, it looks white. So I'm wondering if it's the optical properties of the white. It's not actually white pigment, but it's something. Maybe I'm making it up, but it sounds good.
So if you
Science.
so I think my mind has just thought, if you manage to get a polar bear to eat a very large LED and you turn it on, would it be like one of those Christmas lights?
Cool.
Yeah,
Get it to change colours as it's walking around.
Yeah.
Cool. Your advert here.
Yeah, sorry, my mind it just popped into my head. That
Robert Greery said he would make me build a shiny car.
Oh yes, yeah. That's it. If I had to force something onto Foxx, I'd make it shiny. I'd make it build it shiny.
That'd be purgatory. Me making a shiny car. Oh, it would be purgatory. Sergeant Mo says make Foxx build a shiny car without a shark mouth. That's even worse. Let's have a look. What else have we got?
Dark Star was terrible.
Dark Star's awesome. Dark Star's awesome. That's one of those cult films that's bad but actually really good. I like Dark Star.
So you just lost me here.
Dark Star is a proper old school 1970s low budget.
Now what I have done this week, as well as rooting in the loft and getting lots of other stuff out and getting rid of junk, I did watch. I binged watch Band of Brothers. I don't know why. I just picked it up. I thought I'll watch that. Sorry, I'm just getting a text, but it's not the message from off. No. I binge watched Band of Brothers, the full series. Yeah. You
can't go wrong. No, you can't go wrong with Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
I know you and I were talking last week, and we were saying that, because I was saying Ted that I watched Band of Brothers and then I watched Pacific. Band of Brothers was incredible, and I watch it religiously every couple of years. I'll go through and watch the whole series. Pacific, I didn't even get 3 episodes in. It just didn't. I didn't care about the characters. It was boring. It was dark. You couldn't tell who was who. They all looked the same. Band of Brothers, you just can't go wrong.
Yeah, I got it on my system. I watched it. So yeah.
Star Trek 5, that was pretty awful, says Ron Mack. Yeah, that's because they put Shatner in charge and there was a script writer strike halfway through. Yeah, what does God need with the starship? No. Yeah. Dolph Lundgren, Masters of the Universe. Oh dear. I think we should quickly move on to the.
Yeah, I think we should quickly move on. We're getting to the end of the evening. We're getting
to the tragic end of the film scale now.
Yeah, Trump. Yeah, that was.
Alan says Howard the Duck, and yes, I agree. Howard the Duck was terrible. It was awful.
Right. Shall we draw the winner from? Oh, not draw. Shall we announce the winner from last week? And let's then call it a night and
spill the beans.
Say our goodbyes.
Now, can you remember what we were giving away last week?
I can't remember.
I forgot to get the tab on, but it was.
I do remember. It was an RAF. Was it an RAF resupply set or something like that? It
was the invasion, ready for battle.
Ready for battle.
It had the Dakota. We forgot it had the Dakota, and then the fuel tank vehicle and the figures and all the refueling.
I should have got a screen. I should have got.
I know. I totally forgot to prepare by getting the picture up.
Let
me get it up, if you pardon the expression, matron.
Yeah, go on. Then you get it up and.
On camera and everything. What's it called? Ready for battle. We asked everybody to put the phrase "ready for battle" on the video on the YouTube page. There we go.
Yep. I'll lock it over to you.
Lock it over to me, and I shall screen share it.
Yeah, there we go.
Pressing the magic button. Share now. There.
There it is.
Oh, down menu. Yes, it was the 148 Battle of Britain Ready for Battle gift set. Not only do you get a nice honking 148th Spit, best plane ever. It really is. You get the refueling truck, and you get all the little dudes and the refueling equipment, so you get all that.
Yeah, make a nice little diorama.
Yeah. And all these are traditionally like just separate kits, so you get all of that together. So it's a Hurricane, sorry, not a Spit. It looks like a Spitfire on the photograph, on the box art.
That's your aircraft. Yeah, the one on the ground does look like a Spitfire, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what do you get? You get a Hawk Hurricane, an Albion AM 463 3-point fueler, Bedford MWD, ground crew figures, paints, brushes, and cement. So it's all in all a nice little setup, especially in 1/48. I was quite pleased it was in 1/48. So that's going to go to when somebody's way. Let me just turn off screen sharing. There you go. You can unlock from me now if you would.
Yeah, right. I'll look at it. Hopefully it's still in scale, still in focus. Right. We drew the winner earlier from a random picker thing. And the winner, I don't think I've actually seen him in chat, so it's probably a chap that's come along after we've finished our live stream, joined us earlier in the week and watched it then. But thank you for doing that, because we do like to give everybody a chance at winning something, and some people obviously can't make it for the live stream, and they pop in at other times during the week, and obviously in different time zones as well. So the winner is David Pemberton. I'm not sure if David's with us in chat or sat on the sidelines just watching, but David Pemberton, if you are out there, please send your I'll write it down just so if he is watching.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat on the off chance he's in the chat and hasn't spoken yet.
Ted at
eModels.
.co.uk.
Spelled it wrong. Oh, fudge.
Yeah, right. So it's, can you see? Can you read that? It's backwards to be, but Ted at eModels.co.uk. Is it all on? Right. Yep. Or contact the guys at eModels. You'll know where they're at. Contact the guys at eModels. Drop them your address, and we'll get your prize off to you.
Yes. Alan says Silent Running robots were ace. Alan, that is an awesome film. Silent Running.
That was one
of the best.
I thought Silent Running was a submarine film.
No, Silent Running is one of the best sci-fi films. It's again one of those 1970s. In the 70s, when people made films and they had what would nowadays in a film be one page of dialogue, they used to stretch them out for a film. And Silent Running is one where he's on the ship with all the plants and trees and the three little Huey, Dewey, and Louie the robots walking about. Oh, that film is awesome. Nothing happens in the film really. It's great. I love films like that.
Yeah, well, you totally lost me on sci-fi.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
If you like Silent Running and you haven't watched yet, go and watch Capricorn 1. If you haven't watched Capricorn 1, you don't know what it is. If you like Silent Running, go and watch Capricorn 1.
But Ron Max says, I thought Silent Run was a Jamaica bobsleigh team. Yeah, it was. I remember that one. Oh, no, that was cool. No, it was Cool Runnings.
That was Cool Runnings.
Yes.
My God, that was a
Run Silent Run Deep was a war film. Yeah, we're getting there now.
Yes.
Just as it's time to call it a night. And on that note, I think we will. But thank you, everybody. We've been
actually, I have to add one more really bad sci-fi film, because somebody just said Wing Commander the movie was rubbish. Chris just said that. You know what's worse than that? That CGI Warhammer film that came out a few years ago. That was, I have to revise my answer. That is the worst sci-fi film I've ever seen, ever. I think it was called Warhammer Ultramarines. It was. I can't even. I'm just going to take a swig of water and flush myself of it.
So you can't watch it to get inspiration for painting and things like that? No.
It's like Warhammer's all about war, and yet for the first 45 minutes, nothing actually happened. I just had to stop. So that's worse than Battlefield Earth. That's quite an achievement to make a movie worse than Battlefield Earth.
Ah, right. Yeah, really lost me. I better go and have a lie down in a dark room now. Yeah. Right, time to call it a night. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. There's been quite a few of us tonight, and chat has been quite speedily moving along, chatting amongst yourselves and throwing questions at us. We've done our best to either answer or go away and find some answers.
Yes. I just want to take a minute to just say to everybody that comes in the chat regularly, thank you so much for being awesome, because we've never really had any problems in chat ever. I don't think we ever will. Everybody who's in chat and is regular, you guys just all sort of run yourselves, you look after yourselves, and our mods seem to have a good time of it. So just thank you for being awesome.
Yeah. Adam says, Tyler sends a message, says, hi, Mike and Ted. So hi to Tyler. Yeah, and on that note, thank you very much to our moderators who have helped us out tremendously, keeping a check on what goes on in it.
TK, Adam and Ant, thank you so much for everybody's help on that one. But yeah, just thank you for being awesome, because you guys make this, you guys are in the chat. I know not everybody can watch it live, and and we're responding to chat live. But you know, you guys make this fun for us, and we hopefully make it fun for you. So that's what's up. We're just in a pub having a chat, just without beer or really bad loud Led Zeppelin in the background. I go to the wrong pubs. I really do. Well, the right pubs.
And it's you guys that give us something to talk and waffle about and have a bit of fun. We enjoy.
It's almost the point where we don't have to plan anything because you guys.
Yeah, we never plan anything. If we planned anything, it would go totally wrong. Yeah, we'd press wrong buttons and everything. Right. Yes. Yeah. I promise I never touched it. It just shut down. Right. Okay, everybody. Good night to you. Thank you for coming along, and pop along to eModels and have a look on the website and see what they've done, because those guys are awesome. And thank you, and we'll see you all sometime next week. So it's bye from me, and we do it again. I do it every week. Goodbye from me.
Adios, amoebas.
Bye. I'm going to press the button. How do I press the button when I'm waving my hands?
I don't know. You always leave it on you when you're talking. So if I talk, he'll go to me, and you can pretend you're doing